All right, what's going on? Hope you are having a beautiful day. Welcome to another episode of the Integrated Masculine series. I am your host, Willis, and in this video, we are going to dissect a little bit spirituality versus science. This is an interesting topic to me because, well, first of all, what is spirituality exactly? And I go into that in a previous video of what spirituality means to me. Um, and if it's incompatible with science, this was something I thought about a bit over the last few months. And so I wanted to share some of my thoughts on that. So, just a quote to get us started. Thomas Shazzy, whoever that is, beautiful, said that formerly, when religion was strong and science weak, men mistook magic for medicine, and now, when science is strong and religion weak, men mistake medicine for magic. So, to me, what he's saying is that there are some things in life that are magic and other things in life that are medicine. And so, magic, I would say, is like spirituality, the unexplainable, and medicine is science, the observable, the quantifiable, like what we've understood and about our physical reality. And so in the past, we used to just attribute everything to spirituality. We couldn't explain it. But really, they were simple things like, wash your hands, gets rid of germs and bacteria. You don't die as much or get sick as much. And people were like, whoa, because people didn't understand germs and stuff. So they attributed it to religion. Whereas now, because there's so much going on in science, things that actually are magical, we mistake for science. I like this quote. Um, there are a lot of things that we can't yet explain. I do, however, believe that ultimately science will be able to explain all the things we currently don't quite understand scientifically in the realms of spirituality. All right. And so for me, spirituality, again, I go into this in a past video, but it's a lot of the intangible, unexplainable things of currently, like consciousness. We don't quite know scientifically how this organic matter, or how life formed initially from no life to life, and now how consciousness emerged. There's a lot of philosophy and morality embedded in spirituality. And there's also mental and emotional health. I would put that in under spirituality. How to be, let's say. A lot of that's concerning that spirituality. And science, again, is the objective, tangible world that we have observed and have evidence for, that we've experimented and quantified. And so, again, I believe that they don't actually oppose one another. Science and spirituality actually complement and reinforce one another. And the reason for that is we can now use science to factually explain what our ancestors have functionally understood for thousands of years. For example, let's say prior to the last 200 years or whenever, well, LSD was the last like 60 years, but let's say prior to the last 200 years, our ancestors certainly didn't know about DMT and the molecules and psychedelics. We didn't know about the Big Bang Theory and kind of how everything came from one place. And I'd say like some of Einstein's theories, and I don't know too much about them, but regarding space-time and things like how time is an illusion or it's relative, all that stuff, we had no idea about that scientifically 200 years ago. But our ancestors kind of through observation and personal experience, understood some of the effects of plant medicine. They understood, like maybe through plant medicine or intense meditation, idea of universal interconnectedness and kind of the illusion of time. So again, as science progresses, I believe that the frontier of spirituality will lessen and lessen. However, I don't believe spirituality will ever become unnecessary. Um, Perhaps, and the reason for that is that science is focused on objective reality, and spirituality a lot of times, uh, as morality is a big part of, embedded in there. Although science can increasingly explain certain principles of morality, but science is not necessarily great at affecting human behavior. And an example I have for that is like we all know scientifically that fast food is not good for us, that we should probably exercise more. Uh, Eating a bunch of starchy pasta and white bread isn't healthy for us and all that stuff. But people know that and do it anyways because we have our rational, like logical side, and then we have our irrational, emotional side. And most people act based on their irrational, emotional side. So, regardless of what we can know objectively, scientifically, rationally, it's not always great at affecting human behavior. And so, there's always going to be, not always, but for as long as humans are the way that they currently have evolved to be, where there's going to be a place for spirituality. Um, Another thing is, I believe, and this is not on this slide, but it's on my updated slide, that there's the question of like, is math invented? Is God or religion invented or discovered? And so to me, science and spirituality are both discovered, right? Again, there's a lot of things in spirituality that science is more and more able to verify and prove, let's say. And so science and spirituality are both discovered truths about the world. Now, math is an invention by humans that is a form of language. It's a way to communicate science. Just like religion and in many ways our conception of God are inventions that try to communicate spirituality. So in my opinion, this may be controversial, but religion is invented. I'm not certainly not the only person to have this belief, and God in many ways depends on how you define God, and that's a whole nother topic. But God is also invented by humans but in using, it's like a mental tool that we can use because we have a tendency to assign agency and intention and anthropomorphize things to basically utilize all these concepts in the form of religion and God. So is like religious text God inspired? Well, depends on how you define God. Is God real? Depends on what you mean by real. Is he physically in the sky? I don't believe so. Is he real in how we believe him and how God shapes our actions? Then yes, he's more real or as real as anything. So a lot of how our brains are wired over evolution is through function, through utility, through versus through just objective truth. And so, in many ways, yes, those are very real. But that is all I have. Hopefully, that was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, disagreements, uh, feel free to let me know. I am on this path learning just as we all are. And I guess how this helps me is one, it makes it interesting because here I am with access to scientific information that, you know, people didn't have in the past. I like to joke that, like, let's say I know more about genetics or like evolution than Da Vinci, right? And so there's also tremendous wisdom from the past, and so it's really cool to be able to gain all this ancient knowledge that's been passed down through reading, through plant medicine, all that stuff through teachings, and be able to merge it with my current understanding of what's going on in the scientific world. And so, again, because spirituality and science are both discovered, in my opinion, it'll be interesting to see how scientific advancements will continue to shed light on certain spiritual understandings. So that's all I have. Thank you for listening. I hope that was helpful. And if you want to learn more, get in contact with me. All right. Hope you have an amazing day. YOLO. Peace.